So our house build project is, in spite of what it looks like to you right now, it's moving forward. It's moving forward primarily right now with design and drafting and refining our design on the house plan itself, because what you've been watching up till now has not been a house build, has it? It's been a site development series. Part of our house build, but there may be some confusion around what these walls that we're working on are for. They're retaining walls. They're not holding up the house. That's going to start soon. But I just wanted to speak to you for a couple of minutes about some questions that keep recurring. Some we've addressed, some we haven't, about the house build. So when you're wondering why in the world we would buy that lot, here's the answer to your question, or at least one of the answers to the question. It was the best lot that we could find that we could afford. Building a house is expensive. This is going to be a nice house, and so it is going to be seriously expensive, even though a lot of these materials are going to be donated. We're expecting to have to stretch our dollars just as far as we can stretch them. And we started that process in the choice of the lot. So it's frustrating, isn't it, to have to wait sometimes weeks between episodes of this house build project. But here's what you need to understand. You'd have to think of yourself as unlucky. You're unlucky because you are here watching this as we do it. We are thinking entirely in terms of 5 years from now. Heck, I don't know, maybe 3 years from now when this series is complete. And you or someone who stumbles onto our channel can sit down and there's 300 videos. I don't know if it'll be 300, but it'll be a lot of videos about house building in Western Oregon. Those guys, wow, look at that. And you or they can just click from video to video and all of the information will be there and no corners will have been cut. We're concentrating on the quality of this series and not how quickly we can make it happen. No, stop the camera. Let's start this again. Start it again. We are going through edits and drafts and redraft and edit and narration and voiceover to try to get as much information in there as we think you're interested in, as would be helpful to you and the people that are going to be watching this for years to come. We get a fair number of comments and questions about, boy, could you make these longer? Why aren't these longer? Could you slow this down? Why so much speeded up action? That's a great question, and you need to know this is one of the points that Nathan and I are always negotiating on. Here's where we're coming from. First, we respect your time. You could be going anywhere and doing anything, and yes, sometimes, and some of you would like a 30-minute video. Well, as it so happens, there will be topics in this house build project that take 30 minutes, that are so packed with information that anything less than 30 minutes wouldn't cover it. But we don't want to multiply and stretch videos out if it's a 3-minute topic, why would I spend 30 minutes sort of exaggerating the complexity of something just to fill up your YouTube viewing time? You would quickly get tired of that, or at least most of you would. We have primarily a 21st century mentality in our viewers. Most of you are younger than I am. Most of you are about Nate's age, and so a 30-minute unedited video is my mentality. But I have to admit, I don't often sit down and watch a 30-minute unedited YouTube video that someone else does, so maybe I'm not looking at that right. Bottom line takeaway is this. If it's a long video, if you see in the notes before you open that up that it's a long video, you're going to get 30 minutes of information. A lot of you have expressed concern that if drones could not be used to film the progress of the house, if we're under an approach leg on an airport, it's got to mean that the location's terrible and nobody's going to buy it. Well, take my word for something, will you? The approach aspect to a municipal airport for our lot is a non-issue. Number one, it's not the final approach. This is one of the legs for getting to the final approach so the planes are high. Number two, the airport is small, so the planes are small. Every plane that I've seen fly over my lot is high, it's single engine, puddle jumper, private pilot, brrr, coming across the sky. It's kind of cool. There's no downside. Now, I can speak from some experience on this because when I lived in Las Vegas, I worked on Nellis Air Force Base next to the runways with the F-18s and F-16s and whatever they were taking off. We lived 2 miles out from under the final approach to McCarran Air Force Base for 3 years. I bought and fixed up a house there when we were young. And so I know what it's like living in close proximity to the final approach for commercial airliners. And that's not a mistake I would make. So, not an issue. Now here is the follow-up to that. The drone footage. Yeah, it'd be great to have a drone flying around up there and taking the pictures. And thank you for your comments. So many of you are fully informed on this. Phil, my friend, my magic plumber inventor friend, has been reading the comments also, and he said, yeah, those guys are right, or most of them are right. And he's already talked to the airport, and we've done all that, and we've figured out what the cost benefit is around asking permission and verifying the height of the approach and the height of the surrounding hills, and. Bottom line is this, doesn't make sense, but we have a fix. Phil has a fix, and you're gonna like it, and we're gonna get that aerial footage, and it's gonna be a nice aspect of this house build series to have aerial shots. We think you can expect a more regular output on videos once the house construction starts. Nate and his family are going to be up here essentially full-time starting in just a couple months, so that he's on site and we don't have to schedule our construction filming schedule around his being on site. They're going to be here. Once it starts, I don't know how many we'll be getting out a week, but it'll have to be regular, because if we get as far behind on the house video production as we got behind on the retaining video production, we will be hopelessly buried. The retaining wall was a test for this, and we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about pacing and how much time it takes to make, and if we're smarter now.
I am smart, and I'm self-smarted, basically, by myself.
So in case you missed it, because I think it was probably in the first episode, this house is going to be sold. Hopefully at a profit, likely at a profit. It needs to be at a profit, but I'm not going to live there. I have other dynamics around where I live and where the shop is and those kinds of things. So this house will be sold. I have no idea how much. We're not worried about that. What we're worried about right now is capturing the information and presenting it to you in a way that's helpful. But I know this, that as we get closer to the finish line with this, maybe like next winter, we'll have a big open house. We'll throw wide the gate. If you're in this part of the world, if you have an interest in coming out, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to shake hands and thank you for watching, and thank you for sort of supporting my channel. However you do it, watching is the big way. So until then, hang in there, be a little patient. There will come a day when you'll be able to watch this from the first to the last, when you'll be able to sort through those videos and find the piece of the construction process that applies to your dilemma or your friend's dilemma or something you're talking about doing. And until then, hang on, send your comments, pose your questions. We'll answer them if we can, and we'll see where we end up in a couple years.